Hello and welcome to Trends with LJE, your weekly roundup of some of the most discussed national stories dissected and unpacked by our insightful panel of experts. I am Maimuna Hoyes-Azubair and it's a packed show today. On the panel, we have public policy analyst Chidi Iloameke, lecturer and media expert Dr. Uchehara Ikedichukwu Chris, and social commentator Miriam Gamaliel. Lady and gents, how are you all today? Welcome to the show. How was the long Salah break?
Splendid.
Everyone looking well rested. Thank you all for joining me. Let's jump straight into it. We begin our first story. The federal government has declared Thursday, June 12, 2025, a public holiday to commemorate Democracy Day, a celebration of 26 years of uninterrupted civil rule in Nigeria. The Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo made the announcement through a statement signed by the ministry's permanent secretary, Magdalene Ajeni. This year's theme is 26 years of democracy, renewing our commitment to national development. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is expected to deliver a key address at a joint session of the National Assembly, highlighting the nation's democratic journey, its progress, and future aspirations. This speech will take place at noon following preliminary proceedings at 11 a.m., according to a statement by the House Clerk, Yahaya Danzaria. Dr. Chris, let's start with you on what your thoughts are. In general, tomorrow marks 26 years of uninterrupted democratic rule in Nigeria. 26 years into democratic governance, how many government administration transitions? How do we measure progress so far? What are your thoughts?
Wow. Very well. I would say it's a way of trying to honor democracy for Nigerians and also give room for deep thoughts over our democracy for 26 good years.
Absolutely.
Looking at it, I would say, yes, the democracy has come, but it's not absolute democracy. Or are growing, but very stunted in growth, in all ramification. We should have grown more than what the height we are. We would have grown more than we are in other areas like insecurity, our economy, infrastructure development, and all the rest. So, if I have to say, I appreciate the holiday, but we should do more as a people, and our government should do more so that we grow as our year in democracy.
Chidi, let me come to you. When we talk about the ideals and the significance of June 12th, selected as Democracy Day, are we truly building on the ideas symbolized by June 12th, or do you think that this the symbol and the spirit has been lost in translation?
You're very correct. It's been lost in translation, if you ask me, and if you ask many Nigerians, because what's the idea of June 12th in the first instance? The idea of June 12th is that the will of the people happened for the first time in Nigeria's history, and that somehow it was truncated.
Right.
And it is very smart and very wise of the government to choose June 12th. Very, very beautiful. But June 12th will only make more sense and more meaning if the democratic tenets that we've learned from June 12th is being practiced and is being shared over the years. So we should have free and fair elections. Is important. It's important that even Humphrey Nwosu, that we're asking to, we need to find a way to immortalize him. Is important. Recently, International Conference Center was renamed Tinubu Conference Center. It should be renamed very easily Humphrey Nwosu Conference Center. It is important. It will give more respect to, and they make INEC officials to be proud and to be bold enough to confront anti-democratic element in the society. Very, very important, because if that is done, you're trying to show that there's reward for hard work.
Absolutely.
And if people say, "Oh, it's southeastern issue," it's not a regional issue. For me, it's important so that we can move forward as a country.
Absolutely. Miriam, What are your thoughts on potentially Tinubu making remarks at the National Assembly? This is the first. We've not had this where it's like the American State of the Union address, which I think they're trying to replicate without necessarily calling it that, where the president gives a remark to the National Assembly, a joint session which will be held tomorrow. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, the president coming to give a remark about the June 12th.
Democracy Day.
What is he going to come and tell us? What we've been hearing before, coming to tell us that he will do this, he will do that, and we are not seeing anything. Okay, then we, like Mr. Chidi said, he went to rename the ICC center to his name. Why? There are other things that should be done. Our healthcare centers, our healthcare facilities, they are so down. Schools, government schools are really down. So I think he should do better instead of going to rename ICC center behind him and coming to tell us that he will do, giving promises that will never.
I think for the most part, it's going to be a scorecard where he's going to reel out all their progress reports so far. Dr. Chris, you told us how it was difficult for you to get to the studio today because of the road blockage. A lot of it stemming from commissioning of so many projects, which they're going to be mentioning tomorrow.
In addition, very quickly, I want to say that we've not had it. We need to have for the first time.
30 seconds.
For the first time under it. Well, maybe not under busy, but very important. We need to have presidential media chat with the people. Tinubu needs to give the people an opportunity to ask questions. That's what we used to do under previous administration, under PDP. It was very constant, have people calling, phoning programs. Ask the president, have this kind of presidential media chat is important. So if that can be done, it's more meaningful than this one, because these are, sorry to say, these are those who dance to his tune. Nobody will go there and say, "Oh, President, you're not doing this." Nobody's going to. So I think.
Let me ask something. Just a second. You see, looking at a 26-year-old child, a 26-year-old child, be it a girl, a boy, can comfortably take care of himself.
Absolutely.
But can Nigeria take care of herself as a country?
A very pertinent question that we're asking, but we're going to move quickly along now to our next news story. Former First Lady, beg your pardon, Mariam Abacha, has pushed back against the allegations that her late husband, late General Sani Abacha, looted Nigeria's treasury. In a recent interview aired on TVC, she also rejected claims in General Ibrahim Babangida's autobiography that her husband masterminded the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election. Recall that IBB, in his autobiography, A Journey of Service, launched in February 2025, claimed that Abacha, then Chief of Defense Staff, annulled the election without his approval. Mrs. Abacha said if the claims were true, it will suggest her husband has been even more powerful than the president himself at the time. She also questioned the credibility of the looting allegations, challenging those making the accusations to present verifiable evidence. Chidi, let's start with you on this. I don't know what she was thinking going on the air to have this conversation, but do you think that this interview is trying to revise public memory ahead of Democracy Day? I think that June 12th is very significant to many people for many reasons, for different reasons. Apparently, look at this one's reason now. Is this revisionary history that Mariam Abacha is trying to pull, calling into question the fact that her husband had looted funds from the treasury, and calling people even who have made those accusations to present evidence to the contrary of her claims? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, we know that there have been cases, and we have monies from overseas, Abacha loot. All of these years, she has not come out to say anything against that. Under Buhari, it's been, it has happened, and monies, from Switzerland, UK, and other countries. And we also have cases of under Jonathan too. And so right now, it's for me, it's just late. She should just kind of enjoy her stay, and what is important, what pains me, there's something she said that I feel very important, Nigerians should know about, is the fact that the husband kept monies for Nigeria shortly after he left office. You understand? Not talk about the looted ones.
Mm-hmm.
The money he kept for Nigeria, he made for Nigeria. Because then fuel was steady, currency was steady. Where are those monies? they relooted them. They looted those money, sorry. So that is important. And that important thing is the fact that if this so-called Abacha loot, whether Abacha loot them or not, is there any evidence that Abacha, what's the evidence? But that's by the way. But those monies, what did they do with those monies? Under APC, they had so much money of Abacha loot recovered. What did they do with those monies? Can they show us one project? I believe that's what she's trying to say. So show us one project that they invested this money into. Show us something that is of public concern, that has to do with the good of the people, where these monies have been directed at. So I think that is very important, that we should begin to look. If you don't look at that, then you are worse than Abacha. Because what Abacha did was to save. That's what it means. He saved money and you looted those monies. Because those money would have been used for public good, to help our decaying infrastructure, health, and other aspects of our
What do we look at it,
social
Dr.
life.
Chris? Do you agree? When we look at it, it is officially 30 plus years since Abacha passed away on June 8th, 1998. Okay, maybe 20 something years. Is it up to 30 years? And 27 years. Okay, good. And probably this is why this interview was held. How do we reconcile competing historical narratives? If Babangida, who is alive, alleged something and his wife says these alleged allegations are only being made against the husband because he's not alive to defend himself. What are the thoughts on this? I feel this is not the first time that we're hearing looted funds coming from countries, as Chidi has mentioned. Why did she not step up then to say that these were lies? What are your thoughts on this, very quickly?
You see, Mariam Abacha, she's a grandmother. If I'm to say, she's a grandmother with so many years of experience. That's to tell you how low we have gone as a people. Where a grandmother will come to defend what I call atrocity. That is to tell you we have lost it as a people. Now, I beg to differ a bit from what my colleague here, Chidi, said, that Abacha looted money and what as the government of the day used the money that was recovered to do. You see, how can you lay a bad foundation that people are taking after? If Abacha and the likes did not loot money, maybe people now wouldn't have been looting the way they are looting. But these are the people that laid bad foundation that we are suffering today as a people. So if I am to say, I will advise Mariam Abacha, what she's saying, did she think at all over what she's saying? These things are evident. People, it is everywhere, starting from the time of Goodluck Jonathan, Obasanjo, to Goodluck Jonathan, to Yaradua, to Goodluck Jonathan, to Buhari, till today. Monies are being returned. Yes, monies are being returned. So, she coming out to defend the indefensible. I think she has lost it as a grandmother. In fact, if I were her, I shouldn't have come out to the public and say what I'm saying. It's laughable. And as a people who have lost it, look at a grandmother coming out to defend what a husband did, and people, it's everywhere. We read it, we see it. Not to talk of people that looted it. Because if she didn't loot it, that wouldn't have been looted.
Absolutely. Very well said. Let's move quickly along to Lagos, where President Tinubu has seemingly resolved his political tension with Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. This follows weeks of speculation, especially after a notable moment where Tinubu appeared to avoid shaking the governor's hand during a public event. According to reports, a high-level reconciliation meeting was held at the president's Ikoyi residence with members of the Lagos Governance Advisory Council in attendance. The council, led by Tajuddin Olusi, reportedly pleaded for forgiveness on behalf of the governor, asking that he show mercy. Tinubu is quoted as saying, quote, "All is over, all is forgiven. There is no need to beat around the bush. Continue with your work." A source said the governor and the delegation even prostrated in a symbolic show of loyalty. Miriam, there's so many things to unpack in this story, but let's talk about the more important thing, which is the optics of this. Though we didn't see it, it's all alleged, it's all sources, but show the optics of prostration, even show mercy. There's a lot of language that is not really democratic when you think about it. How should the optics of this, especially in a democracy where leaders are supposed to be accountable to the people, is being held in such a godlike manner? What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, in Nigeria or in our society of today, individuals, we see people who are up there as gods. we tend to worship them, whatever the way, even the grounds they step on, we try to like worship, march the ground, my Lord, my Father, my Father, stuff like that. So in the case of President Tinubu and Governor Sanwo-Olu, the beef or the clash they are having is inside. It's not something they let come out. So we're just like seeing things, but we are not sure to pinpoint, okay, this is the problem on ground. So as they said, all is forgiving. I believe their riff has been settled, sorted out.
Dr. Chris, ahead of 2027, do you think that Sanwo-Olu is playing to the gallery to secure, his own spot? What do you think? What do you make of this public political reconciliations that we've been having of late?
Let me start by saying that if I don't have any problem with you or I didn't offend you, I don't have any reason to tell sorry. And in return, you don't have any reason to tell me you are forgiving me. So something interesting is happening among them that we don't know. They know better. They're coming to the area of trying to secure his future. It's not certain because he has tested power 4 years, going to 8 years. So he wouldn't want, a typical Nigerian politician wouldn't want to lose the test of being a politician and the test of handling power. So he invariably wants to secure his future politically. And that's the reason he has come to. Then normally, traditionally, Yoruba man would always prostrate. But to prostrate sometimes has meanings, and I know publicly he may not have been prostrating or he has been prostrating, but this is why he came to the eye of the media and the public space to prostrate and go to him with certain people, to beg. Something is fishy in that place, and we believe is because he wants to secure his political future.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, we'll tackle the presidency versus Peter Obi and the tragic demise of a musical icon. Stay with us.
At LJE Nigeria, we are committed to ensuring justice, equality, and accountability. Reporting a violation helps us to protect rights and uphold transparency. In this short guide, we'll walk you through how to report a violation on our website. Simply start by visiting our website at www.ljenigeria.org. From the home page, locate the Report a Violation option in the main menu at the top. Once you're on the Report a Violation page, you'll be prompted to select the type of violation you are reporting. This helps us categorize your report for faster and more effective handling. Next, fill in your details. It is essential to provide accurate and clear information so that we can follow up effectively. Once you have completed the form, simply click Submit. You'll receive a confirmation message that your report has been successfully submitted. Your report will be reviewed by a dedicated team of experts, and will treat all reports with the utmost confidentiality and work diligently to ensure a thorough investigation. If you have any question or need assistance during the reporting process, please don't hesitate to reach out to us through our contact page. Together, we can make a difference. Visit www.ljenigeria.org to report any violation and join us in upholding justice and accountability.
Welcome back. The show is still Trends with LJE. Moving quickly along, a war of words has erupted between the presidency and former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi. Presidential advisor Daniel Bwala, in a sharp rebuke on social media, accused Obi of lacking depth in economic governance. He questioned Obi's endorsement of subsidy removal and forex unification, saying the former candidate had no concrete alternative plan and only spoke in vague terms. Meanwhile, Obi has reiterated his support for the subsidy removal, but questioned the lack of transparency regarding the savings. He said, quote, "There is nothing wrong with the removal. What is wrong is the haphazard way it was announced and implemented." Dr. Chris, it seems like Peter Obi has consistently stood in opposition of the ruling administration, which we commend. What are your thoughts on his remarks in general? I think we've already talked about we talked our own ears off about subsidy. Are there validity to the things he said, and what do you make of Boala's retort?
When Buala is doing his work as a attack dog of the government,
Right.
so he's doing his work, and I'm not against it professionally. Where I'm concerned is that since the inception of this government till today, Peter Obi as a person has been on the other side of it, and he has always reeled out statistics. He has never said anything without backing it out up with a substantial
Numbers,
fact.
yeah.
So somebody telling me that he's talking out of experience and out of governance. This is somebody who has been in power for 80 years. Practically, the capacity is there. And go to Anambra, what he has done, they all speak for themselves.
Right.
Also, coming to the area of telling PDP that if I'm to advise the government of the day, in fact, P2B, Adibe is in government. He would have been using what he's saying to lead. He has given them the blueprint of his government. Adibe is there. If I were to advise the APC government of today, they would have borrowed leave from what this man is saying, not to attack him. Borrow it, try it, and see if it works. The credit goes to you, not to P2B.
Absolutely.
So rejecting what he has been saying and giving you advice as somebody who has been in practice, who has the capacity, rejecting it means you are not objective as a government.
Right.
Absorb his economic plans, implementing it your own, and the grace and whatever the glory goes to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chidi, when we talk about presidential response, we've talked about this on this table before. Should the presidency be responding to criticisms, with more substance as opposed to sarcasm? We've had Boala specifically respond to things in a very offhanded, very lacking in, information and depth. So it's ironic that he's saying that Peter Obi is making statements without depth when his response, was quite shallow as well. What are your thoughts on this?
Peter B was right. When you hear people like Boala, from the PDP to the APC, people who are even Felix Morka, now he's quiet after if you hear lashes of the strokes from the oppositions, and you hear people. I agree with Peter B that the indices and of course the statistics that there are no jobs.
Absolutely.
Boala has a job. Yeah, you don't want him to lose his job. So there are no jobs actually. So it's evidence to that. But it's unfortunate that those who are employed, they don't know why they are employed, and they don't even advise their principal very well. So because when you look at what Peter B has said, and he keeps saying he's been consistent, you can't fault him. The question I want to ask, is it a crime to question who's in government? Is it a crime to be in the opposition and see things the other way around? Peter will be asked, where is the money, the savings? Where are they going to? Tell us how much you're spending. Is it a crime to be accountable to the people? That's what Boala is telling us. That's what the APC is telling us. That it's a crime for people to ask questions. And if they say it's a crime for people to ask questions, they should not be in government. They should leave that place. They should leave it and step down. Tinubu should step down, and if he cannot be questioned, he should step down and in his house. Nobody will question him in his own private home. But if he must serve the public with public funds that are not his, people will question him. Come on now. And then when they question you, all I expected Bola to do was actually to come forward and to give evidences of the spendings, instead of attacking the messenger.
Absolutely.
That is very, very shallow and very, very inept.
Very much well said. In Abuja, the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, has renamed the Abuja International Conference Center after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Other parts of the facility were renamed in honor of Vice President Kashim Shettima, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, and Chief Justice Olukayode Ariwola. Wike, during the inauguration ceremony, stated that the project's successful completion was due to President Tinubu's leadership, saying, quote, "Within 8 months, Mr. President, this is what we have." Miriam, you were talking about this earlier. I was just smiling because I knew we were still coming to talk about it. What do you make of this? Usually when we try to immortalize our past leaders, is usually maybe when they've stepped away from office, or they've, maybe they've passed away and we're trying to honor them. Are we seeing I mean, should public buildings reflect institutional history or be renamed based on current political affiliation? What are your thoughts on this?
Like I said earlier, Mwike renaming ICT Center after President Tinubu is totally wrong. Before, okay, this building has been there for years, and it was built by a past leader.
Right.
And this center wasn't even renamed after this person. And now President Tinubu is still in office, and you're going to rename him or give the center President Tinubu Center, something like that. It is not right. It is not making sense. If he's no longer if I'm asked to say, I would say it is not Wike that renamed. It is Tinubu that actually did this himself, and he's just using Wike to cover up.
Right.
And it is totally wrong.
Absolutely. Chidi, let me ask you. We've talked about Wike's allegiances, which nobody's ever able to pinpoint. And it seems like Wike is always in the news on this table. He's on the news again this week for reasons. And we are seeing him talking about, he gave his reasons, which you could say is valid, that is only 8 months. This building has been there since the military times, and no one had ever tried to renovate it or give it any facelift until Tinubu came. And in just 8 months, they have done so much good jobs. But renaming it after Tinubu, after the speaker, after the vice president, are we seeing genuine gratitude or just premature political canonization?
I'll be brief. Why do you rename? Every developed society of the world, we name public buildings after people who have done something meaningful, who are role models.
Right.
You know, you go to the US, you see the Liberty, you go to different, all over the world. Iconic buildings, very, Nkrumah, different people, Nnamdi Azikiwe, you see people who fought for democracy. So I don't have any personal grounds with Tinubu, as a person, but renaming it after Tinubu is still shallow-minded.
While he's still in office.
You can still be in office and do something fantastic. There's nothing wrong for me. There's nothing wrong with naming while he's still in office. But we have many people who they can still rename this in after. I told you about Humphrey Nwosu. And they'll have so many other persons who they can still rename this after in the country that have done well in mathematics, in physics, in things, unique. Then the other part I want to say very importantly is that when you go back and you reflect, you ask yourself questions that there are very many. You've gone to ICC. Come on, you've gone to ICC recently, even before the Tinubu's administration. There's nothing. I don't see majorly anything that needs so much renovation.
Right.
If you go there, it's an iconic building. It is beautiful. There are other primary schools in Abuja that look like where touts.
Hangouts, yeah.
Hangouts for touts, and they are spinning that. In fact, you have public institutions, hospitals. There's one just not far away from this place, and you go there, you fall sick just being in that. So we have very many public institutions that needs rebuilding, refurbishing. Just why not do that one? And then you say it's iconic. Then you can name it Tinubu. I don't have a problem with that. Personally,
Right.
like I said, renaming names have to stand with people who've done something. But we know the issue of balablo, the balabloism regarding the election and how it's coming, the controversy around it. But if Tinubu was just doing something fantastic for this country and people are excited, there's
Then it wouldn't be an issue.
there's employment, there's this,
Right.
People are not crying, there's no hunger in the land, electricity everywhere. Then, you can justify it.
Absolutely. And finally, talking about iconic, we say farewell to a legend. Mike Ejeagha, apologies for my pronunciation, the beloved high life musician, known for his distinctive storytelling and Igbo folk sound, has died at the age of 95 after a prolonged illness. His son, Emma Ejeagha, confirmed the passing. Ejeagha, popularly called Gentleman Mike, was known for his witty lyricism and cultural preservation through music. His contribution to Nigerian music history was immense. Over 300 of his recordings are stored in the National Archives of Nigeria as part of a unique UNESCO-endorsed effort to preserve indigenous music. Gentleman Mike recently saw a renaissance through a viral dance set to his Gogongwongo song on social media, which reaffirmed the timelessness of his message and sound. Dr. Chris, very sad, but a life well lived, and he got to even permeate the public consciousness as early or as late as 2024. What are your thoughts on his passing?
Well, in fact, if I'm to speak on this issue, it's very, very voluminous for me to talk about. Is he in the area of the entertainment that he has given Nigerians? Is he in the area of legacy he has given to the family and to himself? Is he the name he has made for himself? Is it the country he has projected on the positive light of it? In fact, I call him a legend in his own area of trade. You know, Mike Ejeagha, I say may his soul rest in peace. You know, Ejeagha is somebody, he has, if I'm to say, he has fulfilled his days on earth.
Absolutely.
And with something to talk about. You know, I was meant to know that before his death, he told his family that as soon as he dies, his remains should not be deposited in the morgue. This is a legend. And that was what his family did. These are the people who should name structures, infrastructure, and whatever. After, you know,
Very well.
because they left and they are still living. You know, today, we cannot say he has left physically, but what he has kept for us will live forever.
Absolutely.
So may his soul rest in peace.
Absolutely. Miriam, I was just saying that over 300 of his recordings are stored in the National Archives in Nigeria. And maybe for me, it was even news because I didn't even know we had National Archives for audio and music. What are your thoughts? Are we doing enough to archive and celebrate the contributions of artists like him?
Okay, coming to the archives, I am just hearing
Exactly.
it for the first time. I usually will have archives for audio.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good one. And I hope the staffs there are actually doing very well to secure the things that are being kept in the archive.
Absolutely.
Song for Pa Mike Ejeagha, I've been hearing his song. I remember those days where we go to the village for Christmas. My grandma always plays it and everybody will just be dancing to it. I just say may his soul rest in perfect peace.
Shidi, what does Ejeagha, right? I didn't get it the first time.
Let me briefly, if Joanne, you're Nigerian, you know, if I am to mark you, I will give you 80%.
Oh, thank you.
But Ejeagha is the name.
Yeah, okay. Shidi, what does his legacy tell us about the role of music in cultural documentation?
It's music is life. It's very, very important. The role of music is life.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder. It's a recall process.
Means
It gives essence to our being as a human person, as a generation, and as humanity. You know, it helps us to remember easily stories told without necessarily having to publish them in books or being too formal about it.
right.
You know, Mike Ejeagha, you remember the song? He said, "Na meza pota menyi," you know, "Na meza pota menyi." Is any one of those lines.
What does it mean?
You know, it was a tale of a tortoise. You know, trying to be very smart there. So, but very quickly, I just want to his heritage is important, and the fact that we have them archived. And I want to suggest and appeal and recommend that the federal government should have archives for corrupt leaders. They should have both audio and audio visuals, audio video, and then print archives for corrupt leaders. That way it's easier for our generation and the upcoming generation, and of course, you know, past generations to, you know, to realize that there is need for us not to follow the footsteps of these people. So just like Mike Ejeagha is in the archives, and we have very beautiful people in the archives, we have, you know, Wole Soyinka in the archives, we have, you know, even Adichie Achebe, you know, in the archives and things. We should also have corrupt leaders in the archives so that we once in a while go to their pages and see why we should not be like them. No, that is not. It's not funny, but it's very, very serious. You know why? Because we don't know what we should not do. You're telling us what we should do. Then we should know how we should not live. So thank you so much for
Very well said, although hilariously put at the end. And that's a wrap on today's edition of Trends with LJE. A big thank you to my panel, Dr. Chris, Miriam, and Chidi. So much insight, so much fun for lending your voices to today's pressing conversations. Join us next time as we continue to explore the stories shaping Nigeria and beyond. I am Maimuna Ahoizazubair, urging you to stay informed and stay engaged. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.